EVO. The following podcast contains tales of violence, sex, drugs, and a little bit of rock and roll, but is certainly not suitable for all listeners, so discretion is advised.
So I was so depressed when I saw this. I was so heated that I told the guy, why don't you just fucking shoot? Just fucking shoot the gun, man. Shoot this shit. And I kept yelling at him, shoot the fucking gun, motherfucker. And I got him very upset when I say that.
That's Adam Diaz. They called him, among other things, the King of Brooklyn, because for a span of 8 or 9 years, he was a top earner for the Medellín cartel, bringing in millions and millions per week during the cocaine boom years of the 1980s and early 90s in New York City. We're meeting him here on what was probably the worst day of his life. Who was he yelling at, you might be wondering? Who was he screaming at? Who was Adam insisting shoot him in the face? Was it an assassin from a rival outfit? A jealous husband? A rat from his own crew? No. It was a federal agent. And our boy Diaz was about to go down. Okay, so not to get to Double Indemnity, Sunset Boulevard, or Out of the Past, but we're going to be jumping around a little bit here. We're going to be going back and forth, front to back, and I'm going to be sharing with you my time with the boss of the Diaz organization. And let me tell you something. It's a fantastic ride. Welcome to the culture of criminal cool. I'm your host, Ash Adams. Be right back. Look at all the classic and iconic characters portrayed in film and on TV that we lined up or stayed home for. Dexter, Hannibal Lecter, Tony Soprano, Travis Bickle, Tony Montana, Michael Corleone, Walter White. The list is long, but that isn't the part of this that I want to talk about. It's the posturing, the preening of fronting ourselves off as tough guys, because most of us have. We learn it as far back as grade school. I'll show you mine in a later episode, but here's the thing. We bleed those fictional characters into our real life. And the people who can carry out our voyeuristic fantasies, Pablo Escobar, Ted Bundy, Frank Lucas, John Gotti, Bernard Goetz, Adam Diaz. I know, who's Adam Diaz, right? Well, you're about to find out. These outlaws, these bandidos, these killers have captured our imagination, our reverence, and yes, even our hearts. What's it say about us as a society if Tony Hopkins wins an Oscar playing a psychologist who fucking eats people, and then Ben Kingsley wins one playing Gandhi? Does it say anything? The classic battle between good and evil inside us all? Or are we just harmlessly working out our petty resentments, watching characters on screen, doing what we'd secretly like to do to our coworker whose uncontrollable flatulence permeates the break room at lunchtime, or our neighbor who looks at our wife's ass and holds the gaze a little too long every goddamn day? I think the struggle's real. When it comes to violence and our relationship to it, contact sports such as boxing or MMA touch a primal nerve in many as a means of escape, entertainment, and an admiration we have for men and women who have the courage to participate in it and carry it out. What's that old line? I went to a fight the other day and a hockey game broke out. The truth? We're surrounded by violence. We're force-fed crime and punishment. There's a constant loop of lunacy on social media and the nightly news, glorifying and distorting the crime and violence that plays out day after day on social media, movie houses, and the boob tube. But why? For what? I'll tell you. For our fucking entertainment. That's why. Because we love it. Now, not all criminals are violent. Most that deal in crimes that have to do with exercising an extraction of large quantities of cash for an illegal substance, or goods like firearms or even human beings, have the reputation and vibrate at a frequency that gives off the possibility that they can and will throw down if a situation calls for it. Well, let's dig in together in the safety of our cars, our headphones, our office, our bedroom, and see. This is where our show begins. I'm Ash Adams. Welcome to the culture of criminal cool.
They raided my fucking apartment and they got me. They raided my apartment on Valentine's Avenue in Yonkers, and they got me. The feds came after me, and they got me. When I got arrested, I spoke to my lawyer. I asked him to try to get me bailed out. He said, look, the only way you're going to get out on bail if you cooperate with the government. I said, cooperate how? What do you want me to do? He wants you to snitch on everybody. I said, no problem. I promised the feds I was going to cooperate. So, I told them, listen, I can't cooperate if you got this shit on my legs. As soon as I get out of the apartment, the alarm is going to go off for my parole office, and it's a violation. You got to take this out. So they put up a motion. They asked the judge to take out this bracelet from my legs. So I'm supposed to work with the feds in the street. I'm not supposed to be home.
Simple enough. Turn state's evidence, testify against your previous partners, and disappear into WITSEC. That's witness protection for guys like you and me. Seems like the gangster's creed, right? At least for a lot of them. But Adam thought he was smarter, or tougher, or luckier. You know why? Because he fucking was. He was all of those things. That's what kept him alive. But it was different this time.
I lost this money. I lost a lot of money trying to, make this move. And I lost a lot of fucking money, and that's it. It was over. I was like, I'm almost not bankrupt. You could say I have a couple of $1 million left, but, it was not like before. Everything is falling apart again.
Diaz was trying to run out the clock, buy himself some time to allow a solution to present itself, but you know what? His time was almost up.
They say, Adam Diaz, you gotta go back to court, for sentencing, because we waited for you, long enough, and you haven't cooperated fully like we asked you to. So as soon as they told me that, and my lawyer told me, oh, I got a letter from you, they probably reduce your sentence. Not much, but they'll probably reduce it. Say, okay, fine. But bullshit, I'm not waiting for that. I'm taking off. I'm out of here. So as soon as they gave me a court date, I took this shit off and I ran.
So Diaz is in the wind, as they say, running from a state charge. But the feds always know where to find him because they needed him. Adam even sort of likes these guys, these feds. Well, as much as a gangster can feel affection for guys trying to put him away.
So I'm running. They're going through my family's house looking for me. They're giving everybody a hard time. But these guys, they try to help me out. 3 days before the court date, they met with me. They called me. They said, we want to meet you downstairs in your house. I went downstairs. They got me into the car. They say, Adam, make sure you show up to court. We might have a surprise for you. A surprise could be you're not going to do time. A surprise could be we're going to buy you more time so you can do something for us in the street. But you never know. You can't trust these guys. But he told me, I want you to show up in court. Please don't run. This guy was smart. Say, don't run, please. And that's exactly what I did.
So Adam skips out. But he doesn't go far.
I bought this apartment in Manhattan. I rented it from a friend of mine. So I'm living there. All I do is watch baseball and this huge TV. Big mistake. I should have just left the country. Could have gone to Panama. I could have went to Panama. I could have even went to Colombia. I know these guys will have my back and probably send me to Spain to work for them in Spain. But I didn't do that.
The feds knew their prey, man. See, they understood what drove Adam, what motivated him. Yeah, the power he had amassed as a drug lord, the money, the influence, all that was important to him, sure. But at the end of the day, he was still just a kid from Brooklyn. A kid from the DR with a taste for chicks, Porsches, pop music, and power. Yeah, that need would always come up. And law enforcement knew that. They understood what they could hook him with. And what her name was.
Okay, I want to take a second here and talk about addiction. And I'm not talking about shaming drug and alcohol use. That's not my thing. But addictions. Do you have any? Because I do. Cigars. And so does our boy Adam. So much so that he got together with some heavy hitters in the tobacco industry and created his own brand, the 7.5. designed and crafted in the Dominican Republic to commemorate not only the success of the hit documentary, but to celebrate Adam himself. It's rich, full-flavored, bold, pretentious, in your face, like Diaz himself. So look up the Adam Diaz 7.5 cigar sometime soon on the internet, because eventually it will be available for you to get a box for yourself and see that sometimes crime does pay.
So I caught this girl her name is Jessica, a nice young girl, because I want to get laid that night. I want to have some sex. So I call her off. I say, come over, please. She say, all right, I'll take in a taxi. In a few, let me take a shower, whatever, and then I'll go there, and then we can hang out.
Anytime a girl tells you that she wants to shower before she meets you, it's a red flag.
But right before she got there, this other girl went in that she was doing business with me. Stood for a little bit. But I noticed I gave her some money, and she put it up her pussy. Why she did that? That didn't look too good to me. So why she went into the kitchen and she made this move? Why she did that? All right, I should have seen that coming. I know the signs.
It was a setup. From the moment he called for her to come over and hang out, Jessica took that money, didn't want the feds getting their hands on it, so what did she do? She concealed it, right?
I'm running from the law. I escape. I jump bail. It could get me anytime. But I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking I could be smart enough so I don't get caught. But that's just a fucking illusion. So all of a sudden they knock on my door. They came for me. And I saw Mike, my person, goes, open the door, Adam. Open the door. And they have guns up in the air. And I say, shit. So I open the door. They rush in, they push me against the wall, they push me on the floor. So there comes Mike, my person, and another guy named Sean Roberts. And that guy put a gun in my face. And he says, I got you, Adam. I got you, Adam. And he kept pushing the gun real hard in my face. Like if it's gonna make that shit go right through my fucking face. He's putting that shit real hard. Like he was upset. He was very angry because he didn't want me to run on bail. He didn't want me to jump bail. He needed me. He wanted me. He wanted me to work for him. He expected more from me, but I let him down. Of course I do. He keeps repeating himself. He says, I got you, Adam. I had you. I was so depressed when I saw this. I was so heated that I told the guy, why don't you just fucking shoot? Just fucking shoot the gun, man. Shoot this shit. And I keep yelling at him, shoot the fucking gun, motherfucker. And I got him very upset when I say that.
Well, he didn't shoot, and Adam didn't talk his way out of this one. End of the line, pal.
So they gave me 10 years, and they gave me 135 months, and they gave me 5 years, all to run concurrent. That means all I'm doing is 11 years and 3 months. But the funny thing is that, when you go back in the federal system, you always get the same number, 275-0053. So I know this number by memory. But not only they give you the same number, you're going back to the same joint you did time, because that's where you have records, and that's how the feds operate. You're going back to the last joint you was, and the one you've been designated to.
That's right. Adam was going back to federal prison. Which begs the question, what did he already do time for? And how long was he away? I mean, I thought this guy was supposed to be the king of Brooklyn, because for the king of Brooklyn, it sounds like he's got a knack for getting arrested. Well, before we get to the struggles that so often define the collapse of real gangsters, and usually involve a violent death, we need to understand the rise, the risks, the swagger, the balls, everything it takes to get to the top, and then what it takes to stay there as long as possible. But from my point of view, the most important question is this. Why do we give a shit about these people? Not Adam in particular, but just criminals in general. Because we do. I mean, we really do. From movies to TV shows to real-life sagas of the mafia and the cartels, docuseries, documentaries, podcasts, as a society, We can't seem to get enough, man. I know I can't. My name's Ash Adams. I've been in the entertainment business for more than 40 years, and in that time, I've portrayed gangsters as an actor. I've created stories about them as a writer and a screenwriter, and I've crafted movies about them as a filmmaker and director. And I still want more.
New York is in the grips of a crime wave.
It was like the heyday of crack.
It was violent, man.
Homicides, robberies, rapes. It was a war zone.
East New York, Brooklyn, 7-5 precinct, the deadliest precinct in the country. Who did I burn to get put here? It would scare Clint Eastwood.
When I first went to the precinct, I hear about this guy, Mike Dowd.
Mikey's just crazy.
Michael Dow was a crook who ended up wearing a cop's uniform.
He was a criminal.
Once in a generation, corrupt cop.
I consider myself both a cop and a gangster.
Forget about Beverly Hills and all that other stuff. The ghetto is one of the richest neighborhoods there is.
Maybe there's some way we can make money from this.
La Compañía. It's a very serious Dominican gang.
$24,000 in our hands to talk.
Mike was of rain. Say no problem.
In his business, if you mess up, you got killed.
I'm a New York City cop. I'm taking a risk of going to jail for a long period of time, and you're gonna short me a dime?
His word against mine. And I'm a cop. I'd break your neck if your neck needs a breaking.
I had 3 machines counting money, and it's still not enough time.
Everybody on the floor now!
There's no becoming a cop again.
You're gonna have me killed.
We knew we were up against a really tough crew.
A month ago, I was a regular cop, and now I'm a criminal.
That's what they taught us in the police academy. Got a guy in the front, a guy in the back, got an entry team.
You felt like you were God.
The normal person that's doing wrong is going to have a fear of being caught.
I never had a fear about getting busted
Michael Dowd did not have any fear.
because the cops around me would never give me up.
When I first saw the documentary, The 7-5, I got to admit, I got so caught up in this whole Adam Diaz vibe that I'm not ashamed to say that I developed a pretty hardcore man crush on Diaz himself. It was the lifestyle, the danger, the action. Yeah, it was that, but it was his vibe, the gravitas this guy had from a storytelling point of view. I mean, I was hungry. From a journalistic point of view, I was lost. Obviously, I'm no journalist, but I was just desperate enough, just free enough of other responsibilities, and I had barely enough money to scratch this itch, which is about gangsters that captures our imagination. I went after it, and I decided to find out who this cat was. My search for prisoner 275-40053 was about to begin. I didn't know where it would take me or, what it would cost me. I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking emotionally, spiritually, mentally, professionally. But hey, what the fuck was I going to do? I was hooked.